I have started using a boye loom. I am especially impressed with the design of the pegs. It's very neat. You learn first how to make a basic teddy bear, first the legs and then combining them. You'll need to create your own center peg, and I've used this just as one of the Provo Crafts ones, and you did just design it differently.
First row around, and I've doubled this yarn. That's the reason it's around that one peg. If it's thin enough yarn, you can do that without a lot of trouble getting both of them over. The first row is an E-loop stitch. That is the first stitch you should have learned, and make hats with it. But after we've gone around once, we don't do the E-loop stitch anymore. We're going to do the straight stitch, and so it'll be the E-loop stitch coming up over the top of the straight stitch, and just lay the yarn in front and then bring the E-loop stitch over the top of the straight stitch. You can do 3 or 4 of those at a time by putting your thumb on across the way, and then for the regular stitches you can just simply take it around and put your thumb behind it and bring it over. And on this end, and most of the time that's what I usually do, is just the 3 pegs around the end, bring it back, put your thumb on top, come back and bring the E-loop stitch over the top of the straight stitch. Oops. That's the trouble sometimes you have, and it's better with the boye loom, because boye loom, I'm not sure how it's said, but it's easier with that because it has a way to keep it from coming across. It has a little peg in there. That's one of the things I really like about the boye loom. I got back around now to where I've got those 3 pegs, but that's where I started that looping, making it so that I have a double thickness of the yarn when I'm doing it. And I like that double thickness because starting out that way doesn't mean you don't have to do any tails. Now you see I've gone back around to where I'm not doing the E-loop stitch over the top. It's a straight stitch over the top of a straight stitch now, and we keep right on going with that. Straight stitch over the top of straight stitch and push it down, so around and back, pull it over, push it down, around, back, pull it over, push it down. Just the middle peg, and you keep doing this for 10 rows, and that doesn't count that E-loop stitch row, it just counts the straight stitch rows. And so, okay, I've gone the 10 rows now, and you'll be able to count them right here, so that you know you've gone 10. And then when I go through the middle loop, and this is still in the 10th row, I do an E-loop stitch around that center peg that's movable, and that will help us when we tie the 2 legs together when we get ready for the second leg. You'll also notice there's a knot right here that I've put in. This knot is there because I brought the end back and tie off. And that's one thing about double loop that's kind of neat too. The only notch you have is only in one strand. Okay, I'm going around the end now. I put my thumb on the peg to let me go around, and once I've gone through those, then I'm ready to tie this off. This tail, so that I can use it to hook those things together. And so I'm taking a needle now, and I'm threading that through. The reason I'm doing that is because now I need to go down through. Get used to going from the top down when you're using a needle, because it helps if you're always going the same direction. Okay, now I can take that off of that center peg. Take it across the end and back through, and then I tie it off here. Make sure you're underneath yarn is the bottom. That ties it together. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple right here, because I'll be a while before I get back to this again. Now I can take this peg off and turn it around, because now I'll be using the next 4 side pegs to do the other leg. Okay, I didn't show you this on the other leg, but I did the same thing on the other leg. I'm going to take this clear out 3.5 times, my full arm to arm, so that's 2, that's 3, and then a half, and that'll be about right for coming back. But I'm going to start this same way I did that one. I'm going to go around that peg, 1, 2, 3, 4, and move this in 1. And so now I just loop that end, and then I go across the E-loop stitch the first time around, just like we did on the first leg. And you'll see the same thing I've got there. I've got this 3 across that one peg now, and then I go across with the straight stitch across the front of each of those pegs, and then I can incorporate by bringing the underneath one, which is the E-loop stitch, across the straight stitch. Whoops, I didn't do that right, did I? I got to get it back on the peg now. And I don't mind you seeing mistakes, because it helps if you know that most things you can just go back and fix right there while you're doing them. And that's the reason that these boye pegs really help, because they've got that little protection to keep that from coming across, that little thing that puts that groove there where it goes across. For the rest of the time now, we just take the after we get through with the first straight stitch row, we just go back and do straight stitch over straight stitch, just like we did last time. remember this from the first peg. We had these 3 loops over the top where I doubled it. And now we're going right on with the straight stitch over the top of a straight stitch for 10 rows. See now that I've finished these 10 rows, I've did the E-loop stitch around the center peg, and then I've tied it off on the end like we did on this end. I've taken this off, and now the thing we need to do is put this E-loop stitch back on that center peg, and we need to try and keep that an E-loop, and it will want to just be a straight stitch. But if you can do it from the back like that, you can get it over. Now I've got both of those on an E-loop stitch, and I can bring this back through, and now we can start to tie the 2 legs together. And I'll do this by going the rest of the way along the side here. And then we'll put the needle on this again. Now I said earlier you always go tie from the top down, and this is the really essential one to go from the top down, because if you go the opposite direction, you're going to undo the tying together of the legs that we're trying to do. So down and over and then out on the other side. And then down through with the needle. Go to the other peg that's on this same side. Okay, you can see that I've got a V right there. Through.
Going top down through the middle of each peg between each outside peg twice binds it together.
Okay, once we've gone through, then we go down on the other side from the top to the bottom, out.